Good morning, everyone. It's time for yet another stream. Today, going to be building this beautiful thing, the Architeuthis ducks. That's probably totally not how you're supposed to pronounce it, but that's what I'm going to call it because that's how I remember how to spell it now. It's a 34 key split keyboard. The thing that's really interesting about it is you might notice there's some finger splay. These columns are not parallel with each other. They're kind of fanned out a little bit. And also this really aggressive pinky stagger. I want to try this board out. Give it a good solid go. Because I think I want to base my I want to use this as a base for my own design. Definitely gonna want to move the pinkies up because that just feels, I don't know, I feel like my pinky wants to be here, not way down here, but we'll see. That's why I'm gonna try it for a couple of days before I actually go ahead and hack up too much. Good morning, Linux Fish and Lorenzo. Welcome to the stream. Let's see. Can I shrink this window down a little bit? I can. Beautiful. This board is designed by Tappy on the Absalom Keyboard Club server. They have lots of variants on this theme with the squid and whatnot. All of them having Latin names, Latinish names for the boards. In a previous build, I don't even remember what it was. I didn't at the time know what it was. I just got it as a random PCB in some mail from, I think Shogget, or from somebody else. I don't know. I don't remember. But I got it just randomly. So, wasn't really sure what it was. But this one, at least I know what it is. The main difference between this one and that one, the pinky finger. So on that one, one of these pinky switches, I think the top one, was down by the thumb cluster. So it was 3 thumbs, but only 2 pinkies, and I definitely can't do that. I mean, I probably could get away with it if I did some stuff, but it would really, that's not what I'm shooting for. What I'm shooting for is more like a traditional 34 key layout where you got 3x5 and 2 thumbs. Because that's what I've been using with the Zaphod, and that's what I've been using now on my Cornelius, even though my Cornelius has like 48 keys. Yeah, 48 keys. I only use 34 of them. The other 14 do nothing. They're not even programmed. So that's fun. This one is diodeless because if you stick to 17 switches on each hand, you have just enough pins on the controller so that every switch gets its own pin. It's hot swap. It is also not hot swap. So one of the cool things about this design is, as you see right here, these are pads for hot swap sockets. They're for chalk switches. But if you flip it over, you got regular old solder-on pads. I'm gonna go with hot swaps because I just like having hot swaps on everything, if possible. Because I figure, worst case scenario, I solder the switch into the socket. Or in this case, I could even turn it around. I don't even have to solder it into the socket. I can leave the sockets alone, make that soldered on switches, and then even still have the option of unsoldering those at some point. Let me see. Okay, we're good. Yes, I will hot swap it. Yeah. So it should be a pretty easy, pretty quick build. The build is, today is less about building this and more about like I need this to start experimenting with it, to start playing with it. And then what I'm going to do is, hopefully, if I can pull it off, transition over into seated at my desk, and we're going to start playing around with Ergogen. So this board is defined in Ergogen, so all goes well, I can just start poking around in there and hacking at it and making some modifications. And that, I think, might be a better way to learn Ergogen than try to read the docs, because the docs seem to be very comprehensive and thorough and completely unreadable. Like, I don't know, like, it's very technically correct. Like, you explain every purpose for every part, but you can't see the forest for the trees when you're in there. At least I couldn't, at least in my very quick perusal of it. So I think I would rather start modifying somebody else's and then kind of work my way back from there. So that's what we're going to do. I do like that this has very nice trace routing. So they're even rounded traces. But then you've got some stuff like this where it's like it's rounded, but it kind of wiggles through there. And just, I don't know, it's just a very pretty, nice board. I believe the squid art is by Purse. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the squid art is by Purse, and I just think that's awesome because Purse is also the same person who did the art for my channel. The art down at the bottom corner down there is by Purse, and also my profile pic on Discord and all that good stuff. So yeah, Cash is doing some really awesome stuff. I'm impressed with what Cash is doing for Ergogen, so I think it's good. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful or, oh, this is terrible, blah 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 blah. Docs are hard to write, and I would rather have precise docs that are correct than an example that doesn't work, right? Because the example that doesn't work, because I assume I can just copy paste the example and it works, right? But if I have to build it up from scratch, at least I know that as long as I'm following the spec, it's fine. So like it's you know, plus it's open source. It's you know, nobody's getting paid for it, presumably. So yeah, I'm not trying to complain. I'm just saying that, like, it was difficult for me to try to get started by reading the docs. So I'm gonna try by looking at an example and then modifying things and then reading the docs to try to interpret what I'm looking at in the example. I think that's a better approach for me. And I think the docs will be plenty good for that, because they're very thorough. They look like it anyways. They're just, you know, I used to, way back in the day, work with software called Qmail, which is an email server software. And the docs for Qmail are still online in the exact same condition they were 20 years ago when I was using Qmail. And they're very good. But you can't use those docs to set up a Qmail server. You just, you know, there's no... You gotta understand how... I mean, maybe you could, like, maybe I could now, later, with all my knowledge of things like inetd or xinetd or systemd or, you know, whatever. But I also, like, yeah, it's just, they're terse. They're good. They're high quality. They're accurate. But they just don't show you how it all fits together. So, yeah, and I haven't even looked in the server. Like, I mean, I've been on the server for a long time now at this point, but I haven't really, like, hung out in the Ergogen channel. So this will be kind of my first foray into it. I'm really looking forward to it. It seems like really cool software. It gives you a nice base for building a keyboard from scratch, and, like, declarative way to design a keyboard. And I think that's really cool. I think, you know, once there's stuff like routing and or whatever else in there, I think it'll get even better. Because it'd be really nice to be able to just go like, okay, here's my directory full of YAML files, and then click a button and 10 minutes later out pops all your Gerbers. You just ship off to JLC and there you go. And it comes with cases, it comes with, you know, whatever. Like, assuming that's what they're trying for in the long run, I think that'd be really cool. I think, especially with things like the all PCB free trial stuff, because I'm sure that's what these are from. Like, I doubt anybody actually paid for this. Like, it makes it, you know, with that and a 3D printer, you can design and build your own keyboard from scratch, and it doesn't cost you anything other than the components and the switches and stuff. So, I'm looking forward to playing around with it. So yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and get started on the build here. And this is a non-reversible board, so I have to be a little bit careful with the controller, but that's okay because I have a Pro Micro that I soldered headers onto, or maybe I didn't even solder these. Maybe this might be from a kit that I got, some other kit that came with soldered headers, but I don't plan to use this for anything other than like a keyboard, because if I'm breadboarding something, I'm going to be breadboarding a nice Nano or a Arduino Xiao or something like that, not a Pro Micro. Just because I think those are the controllers I want to use going forward, not so much on the Pro Micros. So might as well make use of it. So I'm going to rip the headers off, or the little plastic bits off of here, so it sits nice and flat on the board. But then one of them sits up and the other one sits down, face up, face down. It does have reversible TRRS jacks. One cool thing it has support for the split KB tenting puck. And I have a pair of those and a pair of the tripods that go with them. I've never used, so we're gonna give those a try on this, I think, just for fun. Yeah, all right, let's get building. Actually, do that side up. Not that it matters. Okay. I want to try... Where are my other... So, relevant to looking around for the tools on my desk, I am in the process right now, or my 3D printer is in the process right now, of a 27-hour print that I started yesterday afternoon. And it is printing me a... How to describe it? It's a pencil, like a pen holder for your desk, but each of the holes is like a hexagon, and they kind of fan out like this. It seems really cool. It's taking a long time, but that is hopefully going to be better than this mess that I have right now. I just have a little storage tub thing that I keep random tools in, and it's impossible to find them because I take them out of there, and then I either put them back and then I have to dig for them, or I don't put them back and I have to look around for them. So this will hopefully give me one of those, like, a place for everything and everything in its place, Julia Child type setups. And if not, then, you know, I got to print something for a long time and it was kind of fun. I've been trying to find more things to print with my printer. I think I showed everyone before, but I have a a dice tower now. These little side things fold out. So you toss your dice in the top, and they come out the side. It's pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to putting that to use soon. One of my D&D groups is starting up a new campaign, and we're going to do this one in person. So there's going to be physical, actual dice rolling. An actual table and maps and minis and all sorts of stuff. So, looking forward to all of those things. I'm going to be playing a gnome druid. No, a dwarf druid. I've never really played a caster in D&D. Like I have a ranger and I have a monk. And my monk is a brewmaster or drunken master monk. So it's all a whole lot of just like, I'm gonna punch this thing a whole lot of times. And I'm gonna run all over the place. And I'm just gonna be crazy gnome that you can't hit because I'm constantly moving and all of that. And then my ranger just kind of sits back and shoots stuff with his bow. But that character didn't get very high level because that campaign went really slow, and then we just recently ended it. So I think he's like level 5 maybe. And honestly, I wasn't having that much fun with the ranger. Ranger pet kind of sucks because I have to use my action to make it attack. It's like, why can't it act on its own? Or like I use a command or an action to like turn it on auto attack or something like that. I don't know. I guess I'm too used to World of Warcraft, where the pet is almost its own thing entirely. I don't know. Well, okay. Hollow Knight. Good question. So I downloaded it yesterday. I played it, or I started the game. Got through the opening intro sequence and stuff like that, and got to the like press Z to jump, or hold Z to jump, and X to pound. I don't remember exactly what it was, but realized that, oh no, really, I need a controller for this. And then promptly forgot about it. So I quit. I was gonna go upstairs and like bust out my PS4 or my Switch, download it there, and start playing, but I got sidetracked by something and totally forgot about it. So, haven't really played it yet. But I do like the graphics style. I like the art. So it looks cool. I mean, I could grab... So I've got a PS4 controller, I've got a Switch Pro controller, I've got Google... What is it? The Google... Google's gaming service. controller. I could probably hook those up via Bluetooth or cable or something to my computer. But I feel like if I'm gonna do that, if I'm gonna play it with a controller, I might as well play it on my big screen TV upstairs, you know? So I've got a 55-inch TV in the living room. And then I get to cuddle with cats while I'm playing. Whereas if I play it down here, I don't have any cats. And a screen that's a quarter the size. Higher resolution screen, but it's only a quarter the size. My desktop monitor is a 27-inch 5K masterpiece. I do want to try it out, though. Especially if people are like, it's the best game I've ever played. It's like, wow, that's... I mean, I would say best game I've ever played was Super Mario World. So if it's on par with Super Mario World... Also, just a quick warning to those of you who aren't on Discord or didn't see, I may have to bounce suddenly. Friend of mine, well, a friend of a friend just passed away this morning from cancer, or complications because of cancer and whatnot. And so, my friend might be like, hey, I need a distraction, let's go do something, and I'm gonna just peace out and go. And that might be very abrupt. Like, I get a text message and I'm like, okay, see ya. Like, I don't expect it to happen because I have a feeling it'll be later in the day, but oh wait. Speaking of which, be bouncing very, very shortly. See, maybe I had a... Because I was like, wait, I need to make sure I have my phone and that I can hear it and that I can, or feel it or something. And I didn't have a message, but then I set it down and 30 seconds later, I get a text message from my friend. Yeah, I didn't know this friend super well, so I'm not super beat up about it, and it's been going on for a long time. Like, we'd hung out a few times, but not just me and her. Okay. She's gonna try taking a nap, so we're good for now. I am a human pick-and-place machine. If I was an actual pick-and-place machine, this would take me all of about half a second. If you've never seen one of those in action, go find a YouTube video. It's fascinating to watch. They just have reels of components like this and a little hand that comes out and real quick. We got our Pro Micro, and I'm pretty sure this is the way I want it to go on. So, something I look for whenever I'm like, well, really, anytime I'm trying to put a controller onto a board, is if they've got silks on the board, and I know I can trust them, which I've only ever had one board where I was looking at it and I'm like, these silks are wrong. But it was just because they were the same on both sides and just completely unusable. But that's different. I look for raw ground reset VCC or the 2 grounds. And I look for that on the controller as well. And so on this, the 2 grounds are on the left side here. 2 grounds are on the right side here. So when I flip this over, when I flip this over, it's now over there. So I know that that's where it needs to be lined up. And I really, really like it when silks have those bits on them. Let me get the headers off of here. Or the plastic bits, I should say. Because they are not necessary, and in fact are in the way, because I want this to be as low to the board as possible. You got to be careful doing this with thin tweezers like this, because you can bend the tips. And I have many bent tweezer tips at this point from doing stuff like this. But if you're careful, see, now kind of lift up. Can I just pull it straight off now? There. Okay. Whoops. Bent one of the legs. It's okay, we'll just bend it back. Oh, I bent another one. There. Good enough. Just has to slide into the holes on the PCB. Once it's in there, it's fine. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, I've tried cutting them down the middle here before, but one, that means instead of one piece of plastic, you have 12. But two, it also bends the crap out of the pins because the cutter has to displace the material to somewhere, right? And since it's such a tight space, it just pushes it in between the legs. Okay. Now I bent a couple pins, so it's going to take a second to line everything up, and looks like we're good. Okay. So, just gonna little dab of tape on here to hold it in place for a second. Solder this up. Good enough for me. All right, and it is safety glasses time. Because these things go flying. Ow. I mean, maybe not safety first for all parts of me, but definitely for my eyes. Because if I can't see, that's going to be a big problem. Because I kind of like being able to see. Okay. For a second, I was like, okay, well, how does this go on here then? Which direction? But it only fits on the one way. So that's good. Don't need the sticker anymore because this is the last component I'm soldering anyways. We're going to do it the hard way. We'll dab a solder on there. Alright, there's one half done. And I forgot to program the controller first. Oh well. Nope. They're good. Yeah, I see solder in all of them. It's entirely possible whatever you saw was an artifact of the camera or something, because this is an iPhone, so there's rolling shutter and all that good stuff. It's all good. Thanks for watching out. Every now and then, y'all pick up on something I missed, like the fact that well, okay, I was gonna say like the fact that I didn't take the headers off of, or the plastic bits off of this one. I will say though that it doesn't make that much of a difference because of the USB port. So it's not a big deal, but that is, I would usually have taken them off. Certainly not something I would desolder the controller for. Hmm. Good enough. Okay. So that's pretty much the build. I'm gonna throw some switches on here real quick. Go ahead and kill this stuff. Just using some chalk robins because they're still my switch, or my chalk switch of choice at the moment. Although now that I'm using combos, I am discovering that they are a little on the heavy side. All right. Let me get a couple things real quick to round this off. I am fairly certain the other one of these that I have is upstairs, so I will go get that in a moment. But before we do that, we're going to put the pucks on. Flathead, Thomas, you madman. Yeah, the puck is pretty small, but you gotta remember it doesn't really have to do that much. It needs a 1/4 20 thread and a way to attach to the PCB, and also do it in such a way that it's got enough surface that it's touching on the PCB to keep it from flexing too much, but small enough also to fit on smaller keyboards, because Thomas designed this with the Allura, or not the Allura, the ASU in mind, which, if you're not familiar with Split KB's keyboard selection or future products, the ASU is a future board that he's building or designing. That'll be, I think, a 36 key, so 3x5 plus 3. And, so it's not going to be much bigger, if at all bigger, than this. So you can't get that much bigger and still have it fit in a reasonable way on the board. Now, this one doesn't have a 4th screw hole over here, and I think that's just because that screw hole would have conflicted with a pad. But that's fine. It feels like it's pretty firmly on there. So let's get the other puck out. See, I would say he's a visionary, a gentleman, and a scholar, but he uses flathead screws instead of something sane like Phillips or Torx or something like that. Okay. It's the hard part, getting the first one threaded. Oh, no, that's cross-threaded. And I don't want to cross-thread my way to victory. Well, so Thomas did build it with the Curia in mind as well, but, you know, he wanted the puck to be compatible with future products like the ASU. And yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be a 3x5 plus 4. That gives people the ability to choose which thumb key they want. Thumb key position they want, really. Because if you overlay the Korn and the Curia thumbs, they're basically the same thing, except the Curia has one more further toward the center. And I am going to just cross-thread my way to victory here, I guess. That's a bummer. Are they aesthetic? Like, they're probably a lot cheaper to make because there's, like, no precision required in the head. You just kind of... Move that off to the side real quick. Oh no, I was trying to get him to screw in at all. It's probably just shmoo at the top or something. I'm not worried about it. Wow. That is an incredibly thick backing material. Oh, it's just a piece of cardboard. Still. All right. So let's undo this here. Yes, I know this screwdriver is way too small for this. So we'll go the opposite direction. There we go, maybe. Oh, I see. That's just, that only takes that little bit to tighten it. Okay. So I've heard the trick to using this is to keep the one side folded, maybe, and tent the other. And use the outside edge of the board. Ooh. That's the first time I've tried with the tenting puck. Okay, I like it. tighten it on there. Whoops. Get these out of here. Okay, well, it's a little wobbly that way, but that's tweaking for later. That's not need to do right now. So, given that this is a squid keyboard, I think it's only appropriate that we stick with the aquatic theme and use some salmon caps. I gotta find the homing cap, or the other homing cap. There's the other homing cap. Cool. Yeah, with the caps on, it's going to be a lot easier to see the splay and the fingers. Hello, Lorenzo. It's going pretty well. I am just putting the caps on. I need to run upstairs real quick and grab the other tripod. And then I get to do firmware, and then start typing on this thing. Or attempting to, anyways. I'll be right back in just a moment. Well, I know where it was. It was attached to the little tripod adapter that this camera is mounted to. Which means it's probably down here on my desk somewhere. Okay, well. Or it's right where it should have been if it had still been in its box. Imagine that. I put something away where it belongs and I still can't find the damn thing. Okay, so that was leaning forward this way. Oh, screw it. No, that was right. Yeah, I don't really know Linux fish. I honestly am not super concerned about it because I've been using untented boards for a while now. That's fine. There we go. Plus, some people would even be kind of appalled at the idea of tenting a chalkboard because, like, oh, it's supposed to be low profile. It is low profile. Okay, cool. So, it is as yet untested, but that's okay. We're gonna get out our magnetic. Yeah, I really should put this on the right side. Nice. I'm really excited that JLC has purple now. I like purple PCBs. So I need to do the firmware for this. And I need to make sure that I do it so the right side is the primary because I'm going to stick the... Well, you know... Yeah, I'm going to do right side primary because that's where I'm going to put the magnetic connector. Since it's face up, it doesn't have as much, you know, the connector is a little more fragile. Okay, I'm going to not pause the stream, but just stick it back to the starting soon. And I'm going to rearrange everything such that I'm seated. I will be back in just a moment. Linux Fish, that's a good question. Let me say this again. That's a good question. I haven't looked for it, but I'm guessing it's in the GitHub. Or info for it is in the GitHub for the A.Dux or something like that. We'll see. We'll find it. And then, of course, my microphone is way on the other side of the desk. Now it should be much better. Testing. Yep. Okay. Cool. What was I doing? Desk with Safari and iTerm. Cancel that. There we go. Safari is showing that. Okie doke. Shrink that so it fits in there. And then let's pull up iTerm. Okay. Scoot that over there. Shrink it horizontally just a bit. Beautiful. Okay. Transition. There we go. So, let's pull up. There we go. Oh yeah, that is purse. Maybe there's a QMK directory in here. GitHub workflows broken, do not use. Okay. And I never did the firmware for the other board that I had, so let's see, I'm checking Discord. Tappy channel. Tappy. Okay, so we have a PR for it. Okay, so if you've never done this before, adding a fork to your GitHub or your local Git copy of QMK is pretty easy, unless you are like me and oh, I never did that. Okay. Unless you're like me and you never actually commit things. What's this? Okay, so what you do is you add a remote. So we've got, oh, I can't even highlight this stuff. Okay, so we add a remote, and the remote, we're just going to call it dropped on Caprica. Guess why not? And then, oh, it already filled it in. So the Git thing that I'm using with Emacs is called Matchit, and it automatically modified that for me to do what I want. So that's the remote. So it adds that. And then what I want to do is push. Okay, and then I want to check out a branch dropped on Caprica A.Dux. Right? Is that what branch this is? Yes. A.Dux. Boom. Cool. And then we're going to go in here and we're going to do make git modules, I think it is. I can never remember what it is. Alright, hang on. I got some scammers calling me. Hello? Something about homeowners insurance in Spanish, I think. I don't know, whatever. Let's see, Docker build. There we go. Let's see. Enjoy work, fish. Oh yeah, you could totally do CI/CD with your QMK repo. I'm just lazy. And to be honest, I am probably not going to be using QMK all that much longer. Except for my Cornelius. Because, you know, gotta use the existing stuff. Alright, so while that's building, and yes, I know it takes forever, I'm going to pull down this. Okay. And then we're going to do this. We're going to grab the whole thing, and we're going to put it into Ergogen. Oops. Generate. Yeah, for most boards in the future, I want to try to use ZMK as much as I can. To the point where I'd like to start doing more... I'd like to start modifying some boards to use the Arduino Shao footprint. Or one thing I'm thinking about maybe trying to do is, so this is not a Arduino Shao, but it is a QT Pi from Adafruit. Let me see where my camera is. Which has the same footprint as the Arduino Shao, but it has a quick connector on it, or stemma. I don't know what the difference between stemma and quick is, but it's basically a I2C or I2C interface. And so you can get I/O expanders that are I2C. So I figure if you use one of these and I/O expanders that are I2C on the actual PCBs, then all you need, then like you can hot swap the controllers, even to the point of hot swapping in a nice Nano by adding a quick connector to it, because it has I2C. So that's kind of what I'm headed toward, I guess. We'll see. That does eliminate things like the OLEDs that are very popular, because those have a fixed I2C address on the bus. I think some of them might be modifiable, but most of the ones that people get are not. But that's, I don't use OLEDs anyways. Like, I'm not brokenhearted about that. So we'll see. And who knows, that might just be a thing we fix with hardware, like actually fix the hardware so it doesn't have that problem, or find better sources of hardware. I don't really know exactly what the problem is, other than I know that a lot of them have fixed I2C addresses, which means you can only have one of them on the bus at a time. But then your whole keyboard is just an I2C device. And so the controller is pretty much whatever you want it to be. It just needs to talk I2C to the keyboard, basically. But I haven't headed down that path yet. There's probably some like fatal flaw with that'll make it not work. Like the fact that there are only 4 pins and a quick connector, but I need 5, one for interrupt. But I don't know. We'll see. There's also some amount of I might be able to reuse column pins as row pins or something like that. I don't remember. Pete was mentioning something about it. I'll have to look into that. Because the problem with the Arduino Shao is there's only like 11 I/O pins available, and 2 of them would be used for I2C if you're using that at all. So, but they're like $5 instead of 20. So if we could solve it the other way by getting a $5 Pro Micro footprint SAMD21 or ZMK compatible board, which we might actually have in the form of the Raspberry Pi not Pico, but the Raspberry Pi Micro or whatever, the Pro Micro footprint RP2040s. That might be what we're looking for. Those are pretty cheap, so I don't know. We'll see. So I got my firmware built. This is not my firmware. It doesn't have my keymap on it, but it is good enough to flash to make sure everything works, which is what I'm after for the moment. So let's open up MK Toolbox, get our firmware selected, grab our tweezers, push the reset button, flash. Okay, so we have a, yeah, see, it's already not. Okay, we have, what is the default layout on this thing? Anyways, keys work. They're all wrong. But keys work. What I mean by they're all wrong is I think this is probably flashed with Colmac or something like that, some sort of weird layout. Like, let me just see. Let me switch my software layout on Mac to, so we've got let's see, AXC, no, ASDFG, semicolon in the middle here. Oh, this side is backward. That's weird. That is really weird. I've never seen that before. Oh, you know, I bet it is. I bet you this board is set up by default with EE hands, which I did not do. Oh, wait. Hang on. Let's see. Ducks. There it is. Define EE hands. That is, that's what it is. Totally fine. Because what I'm going to do here is go into the keymaps directory, copy that to kitchen 34 key, config.h, undef, EE, hands, go down to the keymap. Oh, keymap.json. What? Okay. Okay, now here comes the fun part. I'm editing files in one branch, and I want to copy files from another branch into this one. So more likely what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to throw, let's say, in user's kitchen. So I'm going to check out my branch. And then what I want to do is rebase this. Now I'm just going to merge it. Merge. Merge. Ducks. And hopefully that doesn't make a huge mess of my tree. There we go, submodule. I can never remember what it is. Is it git modules? Is it git submodules? It's just git submodule. Done. Okay. Sometimes it's easier just to drop into the local command line. Okay, so quit out of this. Then I want to so I'm copying this whole thing into a new file, keymap.c. Here. Paste. That is not what I wanted. There. Okay. Include kitchen.h, layout wrapper. So basically what I need to do here is delete the outer columns. Haven't gotten Ergogen yet. Still making firmware for the board. No worries. Alright, so that should do it. I hope. Let's see. Oh, I know it's probably going to complain about. Excuse me. Okay. This takes so long. I want to figure this out at some point. I feel like I can literally build this faster on my Raspberry Pi. And I think it has to do with this. Because I'm running an AMD 64 Docker container on an ARM host. Which still blows my mind that it's even possible. But, you know. Okay. Kitchen.h. No such file or directory. That's right, because what I need to do here is roles.mk. So, Ergogen. No idea what any of this means, but that's okay, because that's part of the fun. Random, I was looking for stuff to 3D print, and I just searched for cat and found a bunch of stuff. No worries. I will figure this out. So what I want to look at is points, zone, matrix, columns, and then of course these appear to be all just arbitrarily named somethings. Whoops, what is, oh. The problem of having too many keyboards on your desk is sometimes you rest your arm on one. Okay, tapping term redefined. Damn it, why does that always come up? Oh, I don't want any of these things. Because that's what my user config is for. Oops. Excuse me. was not. Go back. There we go. No, if you want to learn how to use Vim, there's a thing called Vim Tutor. So Vim Tutor, you're going to see that well before I talk about it because of the stream delay. But if you open a terminal and use Vim Tutor, that'll get you started. And honestly, I don't use much more advanced stuff than what that teaches you. And in fact, I probably do a lot of stuff that the Vim Tutor teaches you better ways to do. But it's plenty good to get started. I actually don't use Vim, I use Emacs. But I use what is called Evil Mode, which Evil stands for the Emacs VI layer. And basically it's a bunch of keybinds that make Emacs into Vim. So I use Vim, but have all the power of Emacs under the hood, which gives me stuff like Magit, stuff like Org Mode, and really those are the two things that keep me using Emacs, or I'd probably use something else. Probably back to Vim. But, yeah. But I needed to learn a text-based or a command line text editor because the beginnings of my career were spent SSH'd into other people's computers. So the only interface I had was a command line. So I had to be able to edit files. And not everywhere has Pico or Nano. I don't even know if Nano was a thing when I first started out. I didn't first learn about Nano until I started using Gentoo in 2004. Yeah, about 2004, because that was their like default editor of choice. Because it's Pico with better licensing. Pico was the editor for the Pine email client. So much history to all these things. But Pico is a very basic... Pico and Nano are very basic text editors. Pico even more so, because Nano brought things like colors and syntax highlighting and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, Nano is fine. If you're comfortable with it, go for it. And if anybody tries to shame you for using it, tell them to get fucked. Kind of like the best camera is the one in your hand, which is why phones are so popular as cameras. The best text editor is the one you know how to fucking use. Like, if you don't know how to use Vim and someone's like, "Oh, you got to use Vim because it's better than Nano," it's like, okay, great, but I don't know how to use it, so I'm gonna keep using Nano. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Nano. Nano is just a basic text editor, you know? It does what it says on the tin. It edits text. It has some basic copy pasting and I don't know. I don't know what all features it has. It's been years since I even opened. Well, no, I don't want to say it's been years since I opened it because I've probably used it a bunch, not even realizing it. But like, I've never tried to make it my primary editor, so I've never gone into what it does. But yeah, I would say Vim is not a bad thing to learn, because VI is like VI, not Vim, but VI is part of the POSIX standard, which means every Unix system is going to have VI on it. Every Unix system, so you can be sure that it's there. And if you know Vim, you can get by with VI, right? If you know VI, you can do so much more with Vim, but you can just use basic VI too. So at least I'm pretty sure VI is part of the POSIX standard. Yeah, including changes required by POSIX standard, POSIX. Yeah, like even BusyBox has a basic implementation of VI. So if you do docker run -it busybox, VI. There you go. It's really basic, but it is VI. So yeah, and I would say if Nano is not available, try Pico, because sometimes Pico is available more than Nano. But honestly, I haven't seen Pico. Like, the only reason I've ever even used Pico is because Iowa State University had DEC. No, not DEC. They had they had digital Unix on their computers. And so when I was in my computer science class, where we were telnet into these Unix machines to do our homework and stuff like that, we were using Pico because that was what was there, and that's what they taught us to use. And Nano is just Pico with better licensing. It's a clean room implementation of Pico's feature set, basically, because Pico is part of Pine. Pine is a mail client that came from the University of Washington and does not have a GPL compatible license or something whatever. They're the same thing, function basically, just different implementations. Okay. We have our firmware, so let's go ahead and flash again. This now will have my layout on it, so I will be able to use it. Okay. And if you're not familiar with POSIX, POSIX is basically a kind of a definition of what a Unix system is. Right down to what command line arguments are available with the ls command and stuff like that. Like, it is baseline implementation of this is a Unix system. I know this. That's all you really need. Anything above that is icing on the cake. And yeah, this pinky is weird. But it has my layout on it. Cool. Alright, Cornelius. You've been good to me. You're going on the side burner. A.Dux. My new squeeze. Man, that pinky is going to be hard to get used to. Okay, so going into Ergogen finally. Ergogen. So we've got points, zone, matrix, columns. Okay. So in here it says points are basically keys. They're basically switches. Point in this context refers to a 2D point with a rotation. This can be thought of as the middle points of keycaps and resulting keyboard layout, additional handling of the angle of the cap. Okay, great. Implicit focus on column stagger. Of course, we'd simulated traditional row stagger. We're going to skip that because I don't want row stagger. And column stagger keys are laid out in columns, and a collection of columns is called a zone. Okay. So we've got a zone. And then matrix is probably just the name of this particular zone. And then there's probably thumb zone too. Yeah, I'm going to put this in an editor that has proper folding. Or at least like... Where did my stuff go? Oops. Okay, so that is Okay. If I hit this, it falls over. Good to know. Okay. What if I do this? Is that? But if I tip it up a little more? This is the first time I've used tripod and a tenting puck on a keyboard. So, tweaking things here. Alright, so we've got our thing here. It says EF. Oh, it's not going to let me... It's not going to let me fold that? Okay, well, whatever. I can at least go... Yeah, okay, so thumb. So we've got basically two zones defined here, matrix and thumb. So matrix must be the top keys here. Let's see, yeah. The top keys here, and then thumb down here, the two thumbs. And then in each zone, we've got columns, or at least in the matrix zone, we've got columns. Well, what's extra fun is this doesn't even have a matrix on it. They're all direct wired switches. Wow, this is really... The ref field can also be an array of references, in which case their average is used. Mostly useful for anchoring to the center by averaging a key and its mirror. See you later. Okay, so what do we have? So we have a column here. We've got spread 18, rotate 15, rows, bottom, home, top. Okay. So the pinky column is rotated 18, or no, is spread 18 from that column and rotated 15 degrees. All right, I'm going to try something. I think I see what I want to modify, or what I need to modify to change the pinky stagger. So everything is relative, all these columns are relative to the one previous. So this is kind of setting the origin point, the pinky column. Right? So that's kind of like 0, 0, let's say, or negative 17. I don't really know. But the next one has a spread of 18. Right? Like that. But a stagger of 17. And if you look at the middle finger, the spread is 18, but the stagger is 17 divided by 3. Middle is negative 17 divided by 3. So that defines this little arch right here. And then the index, the next index is negative 17 divided by 6. So what I think I want to do is I just want to go in here, and we're just going to change this to divided by 2. Just to kind of see what Ergogen comes up with. So what I can do here is then select all, yank that. Hopefully that worked. Select all of this, paste. Oh no, why did that happen? Okay, yank that, not the, okay. Generate, now let's see. So we can kind of look at the outlines and see that the pinky is further up. Great. So I'm going to download the PCB. And we're just going to see what this did. Okay. Tools, get a PCB. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to actually open this PCB file. Okay, there we go. So that's that. This is what I was kind of looking for, just the general. What does it look like? So cool. Now I get to figure out how to turn this into a 3D printed case. But I think this is a good start because so far I really do like the splay on these other fingers. So far, I mean, I've used this for 2 minutes. The only problem I have is with the pinkies so far. But otherwise, it feels great. Cool. Yeah, the pinkies are too far down for me. I could probably get used to it if I really tried it, but I don't think I want to try it. I don't think it's comfortable. It's like if I'm already in the process of designing my own board or something, I might as well make it the way I want it to be and not try to conform to someone else's ideas. Because otherwise I just go like, okay, well, I take this and I smash it all on one PCB. Done. Right? Which honestly, it's not far from that. But I think the pinkies are in the wrong place for me. And I also kind of want to try this with MX spacing. Oh, that's okay, great. Perfect. So what I want to do, because I don't think this is MX spaced. Spread horizontal space is applied. So let's see here. Wait, does this have a cases? It doesn't. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try something funny. Or try something which I'm sure is going to make it funny. Oh, three to predefined one. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. Never mind. So I want spread to be you. Okay, so that's an MX-based A.Dux. I think. Oops, go back. Not use the navigation thing up there, go back. So... what does this open in? OpenSCAD. Okay. Or not. Okay. What I was trying to do there was I was trying to open the DXF file in something and then see if I could also open the stock A.Dux one in there. Okay, I think we've got some. This is a lot to try to take in. Okay, footprints, chalk, hot swap, chalk. So I would want to change. Oops. Currently supported footprints. That I really like every time I hit that, it just falls over. And it's so far down, it's like I've gotta take my hand off the board to reach it, basically. Ugh. There. That and since I'm a effectively a Vim user, I use colon quite a bit, so that's gonna have to change a little bit. Hello, Jerry. Oh, damn it. Well, I try to stream for about 3 hours, and it's only been 2 hours, 37 minutes, so... I don't know why that key is not reliably working, but I think it's more to do with movement. Anyways. And even hitting this middle key on the right hand is making the whole thing fall over. The sport. Excuse me. I really wish I could preview it in the console. Oh, I see. It just spits it out into the JavaScript console. Okay, well, that's not what I wanted. So let's see. Good night, Sword. I think we had this discussion last time. Okay. Starting to understand a little bit this stuff. What I want to do, I think what would be easier for me to do, because I can't figure out how to take this PCB and actually open it so I can view it, because I don't know anything about KeyCAD. What I do know about is Prusa Slicer, and there is a way to have this generate cases. So what I'm going to try to do is generate a case. Ooh. Or no, we'll call it Architeuthis. A.Dux. And then type outline. Specifies which outline to import onto the XY plane. Okay, what the hell is a outline ref? Is it just the name of the reference, or is it an actual, like, thing? Alright, well, we're gonna see what happens here. But is it just a name, or do I have to give it, like, some sort of symbol? Does not match a valid outline. Oh. I was looking at this outlines. Okay. Got it. 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 Okay. So an outline panel. Okay, we're getting closer, I think. So we got the panel. And then we want to outlines first. Raw. No. Okay, so maybe it doesn't have support for this yet. What I'm looking for is like how do I get this but with switch holes in it. Basically, I want to take these and extrude those through the case. It's, you know, not so much. Trying to figure out how to generate a case. Input is not valid. YAML. Yeah, it is. Damn it. There we go. Right, sorry, trying to get back to where things were semi-working. Oops. Where's the plate export? Because really what I want is less a case and more a plate. Because I just want something to pop switches in. Okay, we're gonna try this. Oh, it's beautiful. Now, can I combine that with, say, raw or panel? No. It's fugly, but hey, you know what? It works. Okay, we're gonna... Oh, come on. Undo that. Write that file. And then, let's see. All right. I am going to take this and download the STL. This is just a flat thing, right? Okay. Slice now. 38 minutes to print that still. Okay. And because I'm lazy, and I don't want to have to print 2 of them, not that I really need to mirror because they're the same thing, but whatever. Because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to print 2 of them, I'll print them both at the same time. Slice now. Export G-code. Or we'll hold off on that because I want to export it directly to my thumb drive for my printer, and that is in use right now. Printing a thing. So I want to mess around with this a little more, of course, especially because like these are going to be you can't see my mouse pointer. These outlines around the switches are going to be really fragile when printed. They're just not going to hold up. They need more meat. I want to make this a proper, like a case, kind of like the Abomination had, where it has like sides, has skirts to it. And I don't know if I can do that in... Well, I have a feeling I can do that in Ergogen, but I might just have to manually model it in like OpenSCAD or something like that. I don't really feel like doing that right now because that's more than I... This is where I wanted to get today, is to have a 3D printable thing, and also to modify the case slightly. I might bring the pinky in a little bit because that's a bit of a reach, but we'll see. This is the first iteration, and I kinda understand some of this, like... So let's go kind of review what we've got here. So the pinky, so the columns are laid out relative to each other, right? So you've got this origin 0, -17. That's kind of like where the middle of this... you can't see my friggin' mouse pointer. Where the middle of the pinky, the bottom pinky key is, I'm guessing. 0, -17. Right? And we have this spread, which is how much spread there is in the column. What angle it's rotated at, which is 15 degrees from vertical. And then I'm not sure what the binds do. Let's see. 0, wait, okay. That's something I want to learn, figure out here. Binds. Okay. Let me try this again. I still don't really know what that bind means. And this doesn't talk about bind. Yeah, I'm just trying to get anything right now. Um, so I'm not super worried about the Pro Micro and the TRS. Okay. Oh, this is making my brain hurt. Um, Yeah, I don't get the bind stuff. Or glue. Yeah, I know my water bottle is blocking the camera, sorry. Okay. I think I'm gonna call for today. I want to play around with getting this board to be a little more stable on its feet, so that I'm not knocking it over all the time. I want to really sit down and read through these docs to try to figure out what the hell. And I think I should do that off stream, just because you sitting here watching me scroll through a web page being confused is probably not the most entertaining of content. I will, yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna do some of that off stream. Monday I will be back. So I'm not streaming Saturday because I am working the second weekend of the Cycle Oregon Thai Valley Rally event. So I'll be in Thai Valley, Oregon, which is just phenomenally beautiful area. Like, it's really, really pretty. The roads are, I mean, it's just everything. It's just awesome. I want to go spend more time out there at some point. So no stream on Saturday. So I'll be back on Monday streaming, and I hopefully by then, assuming the next few hours of this print that I'm doing goes as well as the last 20 hours or 22 hours or whatever of it, I'll have a new toolbox for all my soldering tools and stuff like that, and I'll show that off. I'm gonna keep working on this, and maybe Monday I'll have a little more knowledge and we'll go through kind of like some more modifications, and even kick off a print of one of these. I'd like to figure out the case thing, because I'd like to figure out how to make it so it like builds me a case. I don't know, something. Or maybe Monday I will be, I'll have everything done. I'll have figured out how to do this stuff here and print a case and all that stuff, and it'll be, it'll just be me wiring up doing another hand wire build. But we'll see. But for now, I am going to call it a day, call it a stream, and go take care of my friend, who is not in a good way right now, and understandably so. So, see y'all later. And thanks for coming by. It's a nice keyboard. I like this, and I like the pucks. I think it's cool. It's been a while since I've used a proper tented keyboard, and I kind of miss it. I would not probably take this on the trail with me in terms of the tenting because it's so heavy, but that doesn't mean I can't build something that does this that's not as heavy. Like maybe a footprint that, or a little foot that screws into, maybe with some heat set inserts, a 3D printed foot that screws into where the puck holes are and allows me to tent, because I don't need the variability once I get it figured out. Anyways, I'm gonna quit rambling and go do something else for a little bit. Thanks for hanging out, and see you on Monday.